Hello, and welcome to another episode of the CamerataCast. This is Andres Marquez, your host as always, and today I have yet another very special guest. All my guests are very special, so this should come as no surprise. I'd like to welcome Lola Olvera, who is an amazing poet, zinester, upcoming guitarist. I am, yeah, why don't you take it away?
Sure. Nice to talk to you again, Andres.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, my name is Lola. I'm from Orange County, um, raised in Orange County. I am primarily a writer. I also make zines, and I'm working on doing like art videos and maybe music videos. Um, so yeah, super excited for that. Super excited to be learning new things and being able to find like new creative outlets. Um, yeah, one of the fun, inspiring things is like collectives, like the one that you have, where you have so many people who are creating and like learning from each other is really inspiring. So that kind of helps, kind of helps with like the motivation and being able to like share stuff with other people. So glad to know, glad to know you, glad to know the camarada.
Oh, well, first off, thank you very much. I do hope that for everybody involved, this collective that we share, um, is an inspiring thing. And I hope that it helps bring folks closer to whatever sorts of creative goals they have. Yeah, I very much appreciate the praise. Thank you.
Of course,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. We met at a Zine Fest. Was it the Anaheim Zine Fest or was it a different one?
It was in Anaheim, but I think it's officially called the Orange County Zine Fest.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Yeah, that was a few years ago. I think that was the first year I did the Zine Fest, and then there was the whole pandemic, so it was virtual for a couple years, and then they're actually doing an in-person one again on September 10th. So I'll be there, and it'll be great to see people in the flesh again.
Hell yeah, I am very excited to hear about that. The Zine Fest, the first one I went to was that Orange County Zine Fest at the Anaheim Public Library, I believe.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that was a magical experience. I met so many awesome creators of all sorts at that place. There's like three whole floors of people just handing out zines, selling zines. It was amazing. But yeah, you are a zinester, a writer. If you don't mind me asking, what got you started on this, kind of this creative path? What got you started working on zines and the written word?
I was definitely like a reader when I was a kid, and I always liked writing. Um, I didn't have like too many opportunities for like creative outlets when I was growing up. So I've actually been focusing more on that kind of within the past handful of years. Once I graduated from college and then I had more time, I actually started investing more into like working on art and like learning new ways of expressing myself. Um, so always wrote kind of casually, but I kind of started writing poetry more regularly a few years ago, um, and it's been great. It really like helps to do it on a regular basis. You kind of build momentum, and you're kind of inspired constantly just by whatever comes out subconsciously onto the paper, even if you're just kind of like doodling with words.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm really glad that I um, have had more time to do it and have made the decision basically to carve out time, even when there isn't as much, to just keep focusing on it.
For sure. Oh, that's lovely. If you don't mind me asking, have you had any favorite books, within the past, I guess, lifetime? Anything you go back to, or is just like something that's really inspired where you are today and who you are today?
Yeah, actually, so I didn't used to write poetry before when I was younger. It was I would write um, like personal essays and songs and stuff. I didn't start writing poetry until a handful of years back. I read a poetry book by Rupi Kaur. Um, she has written about 3 poetry books so far, and I don't even remember where I came across her work, but I ended up having her book, and one of the chapters in her poetry book that really struck me was one that was dedicated to her writing about her immigrant parents from India. And it was like the first time that it had occurred to me that like you could write poetry about like your family and your childhood and like immigrant experiences, because most of the stuff that I had been exposed to was very like writing about like romance and kind of just your personal feelings of like day to day life. And it really like opened up a lot of inspiration for me to explore a lot of my childhood, my parents' history, and how a lot of us share similar experiences. So that was kind of like a turning point for me from writing, like sad heartbreak lyrics to like um, really writing stuff that like not only helped me process things in my life, but also helped me like connect with other people who had also felt that way. So really, really thankful for coming across her poetry because it was the first time that I had um, like read stuff that resonated with me in that way.
Hmm. That's beautiful. I've never read a Rupi Kaur book, but I'm very much invested in trying it out soon, and I'm very happy that I had such a positive experience on your life.
Yeah, yeah. Glad to have found her.
All right. So, speaking of positive experiences, I wanted to ask, and this is something I've been asking everybody that we're doing this short series of casts with. I wanted to ask what's been making you happy as of late? What's helped you feel, you know, if not completely content with life, then at least momentarily comfortable, momentarily on the up and up? Um, what's been, what's been getting your gears grinding?
Yeah, this makes me feel really old, but like I feel like the older I've gotten, the more it's been about focusing more on like the little stuff
Hmm.
um, instead of the big stuff that may realistically be out of reach, and then you're constantly dissatisfied because you won't reach it.
Right,
Um,
right.
yeah, I'm very much of the mindset that like happiness can be very intentional or should be very intentional. Um, so like there was a period of time where I was kind of down, and one of the things that really helped me was to just remind myself of the little things in my life that brought me joy, and I would write down when I felt happy and like what I was doing, who I was with, and I made this list, and then um, as you might imagine, like patterns would emerge, and I'd be like, wow, like I really like dancing, like dancing makes me happy. And then I made sure to make space for those little things every day in my life. So like I dance every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have fruit every day. Fruit makes me happy. I like to sit on the porch and just kind of have like a quiet moment and look out on the street. Um, and it's just all these like little things that you might overlook on a typical day. But when you really like sit and like realize that you're happy and like enjoy that happiness and realize that like you can recreate that feeling again if you want to, um, has helped a lot because you basically you just fill your day with stuff that makes you happy, and then you clear out the rest of the nonsense that maybe isn't really adding to your happy day.
Honestly, that's like one of the best things I've heard all week. This is a highlight of things that I've experienced for sure.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
I don't. I just. I mean, I've been on the same wavelength. Honestly, I was. Oh, it's like, sorry about that. But yeah,
No,
I
yeah.
was I was just speaking with a friend of mine. Shout outs to Sierra. They are the bomb with a capital B. Um, we were just talking earlier today about very similar things, just kind of like understanding that happiness doesn't have to come from huge, grandiose, if that's how you pronounce it, these big,
Mhm.
grand goals that come to fruition or these huge milestones in life. We were just talking about like the tiny little things, like baking some bread, baking little
Yeah.
cookies, and just like enjoying the fruits of that labor. Um, like one thing that I've been thinking about a lot is I am a huge chai tea fiend. I will down any cup of chai tea that is within my reach. Uh, but for a while I'd been kind of questioning like, why do I always get this one drink? Like, why do I get this specific drink whenever I'm like, you know, walking around if there happens to be a tea shop near me? Uh,
Mhm.
I just felt like for a while it was like a habit. It was just like something I do. But then I kind of just mulled it over, and I realized that like a lot of my a lot of my recent memories that I favor, a lot of the memories that are like delightful and cheerful in my mind, those were accompanied by like a cup of nice iced chai. Um, just like really nice hangs with friends, discovering new places in LA and OC. And I just kind of discovered that it was like, it wasn't really a habit as much as it was like a comfort. And now I think about that whenever I have like a cup of chai, whether I brew it myself or I have it at some, shop near me. I just kind of think about um, the fact that it makes me happy rather than questioning why. Um, I don't know. What you said really resonated with me, and I definitely will kind of take that with me. I want to try kind of mapping out those points of momentary bliss and happiness in life, because that just sounds so fulfilling.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought up the tea thing, because the way that you described it, it kind of just brought to my mind that it's what it's doing is that it's like bringing like gratitude in our lives. Because like previously, you weren't really paying attention to this tea that was like bringing you so much happiness, but then like
Hmm.
once you notice it and then you start to kind of be mindful of it as you're experiencing it, you feel like so thankful to like have this in your life. And you're like, wow, like I never appreciated it so much in my life, and this like tiny thing becomes like a bigger thing. It has like a bigger meaning all of a sudden, which I think is like really awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly it. That's like, and I'm trying to kind of gauge what other things in my life are of that same sort of magnitude. It's like chai tea has been like kind of like a staple of just what I enjoy for the past like 5 or 6 years, honestly. But there are other things in life too that I'm kind of realizing have a special purpose um, in my existence. Like I like being in nature, quote unquote. Everything is nature. We just kind
Mhm.
of separate ourselves from it by these weird sort of social norms. But in any case, my bad. I like being surrounded by natural architecture, as it were, like large looming oceans and
Mhm.
big glades, big trees. And that too has a lot to do with what I was happy with as a child, like going into big forests and running about. Um, so now I try and make that sort of habit, like every time I have the chance to plan for it, I like to plan some time to just wander around one of the parks around here, go hiking in the hills or, through some of the ravines that are around the Whittier area. Um, but yeah, you're right. It's about intentionality. Stumbling on happiness is great for sure, but it's also something that you can definitely make room for.
Yeah, for sure. I think we kind of intuitively know um, when we're happy, but we don't spend enough time just kind of like honing in on it and like um, yeah, like you said, being intentional about it.
Exactly. Well, if you don't mind, I know like it's only been about 15 minutes, but these episodes I'm planning on being just a bit shorter because, well, I guess the top reason is just that it's like you can only go on about happiness for so long. Um, but I do want to ask one more thing regarding that,
Hmm.
um, if you don't mind.
Of course not. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask. Um, oh, sorry, my back. Sometimes I got to put it into place. My apologies for the interruption. But yeah, so if you don't mind, is there anything right now in life that makes you happy that, how do you say, this is one of those parts I'm going to edit out. My brain is slowly dripping out of my ears.
Okay, it's okay.
But yeah, so just a couple more seconds. I'm sorry. All right, I will edit it back into here. So, out of all the things that make you happy at this point, um, are there any specific things that you share with people? Like, not just like, oh, yeah, I know that this person also likes this thing that makes me happy. Is there like activities that you find are more endearing and more fulfilling when done communally?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Um, I think one of the things that comes to mind is um, finding someone with whom you have the ability to kind of do your own thing, but still be like in each other's space.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think there's something about it that is interesting to me because it's kind of a way of like being an individual but being a community like, at the same time. Like you don't have to be doing the same activity, but you can do it side by side. I think one of my love languages is quality time, so I really appreciate moments when I'm with friends and we kind of have that um, like the conversation ends, but it isn't awkward. It just kind of slowly fades out, but then we kind of keep on doing our own thing, and it's comfortable and it's quiet, and like we can do our own thing, but we know that they're there and that you can um, talk when you want to, you can have support when you want to, um, but there's no kind of like forced pressure to like kind of keep a conversation going or to do the same activity together. Um, yeah, that's I don't know. That's what came to mind when you asked that question. I think that's just what I've been thinking about lately for myself.
Oh, that's honestly, that too is just wonderful. It's like I don't know. I feel like you're touching upon a lot of things that that we share in common. Like one of the things that I really enjoy when spending time with friends for like long periods of time, I love to cook.
Mhm.
And I don't just like cooking for myself. I mean, sometimes I end up having to, but whenever I can, I like inviting people over to cook. With well, I cook. We share the dinner. Um, sorry, I'm going a bit too in depth in there. But in
Okay.
any case, um, it is a very similar experience though. Like we're not always talking while I'm, behind the stove or while I'm mixing stuff up. Sometimes we're just kind of like hanging out. Maybe we're listening to music, or maybe it's just, you know, the atmosphere around us is kind of like everything between us. Um, and that is it's beautiful. It's not like
Mhm.
you're right. We don't have to feel as though we have to keep talking in order for our friendship and our love for each other to be validated. It's already validated by our presence and by how well we know each other and trust each other. So thank you again for just bringing that up. It's I don't know. I Speaking about it makes it feel even more real to me. So I appreciate you just kind of putting that out into the air.
Yeah, it's a great feeling um, to just feel like your existence is enough. Like you don't have to do um, anything else but just exist, and you can still um, be a part of the friendship, be a part of the relationship, be a part of the community. Um, it's just nice when there's so much pressure to like I don't know like be perfect or be a certain way. It's nice to just be. Of
Exactly. Here's to that. Thank you again, Lula.
course.
Before we wind down this cast, this is a segment that I like to do with everybody on the show, whatever the topic may be. I do want to ask if there's anybody specifically in your community, whether they're an individual or a group, that you've been drawing inspiration from as of late. They may be artists, they may be people who do like mutual aid, any kind of stuff that you want to give some love to on the cast. Shout these folks out, give them your praise. Yeah, go on ahead if that suits your fancy.
Yeah, one writer who has inspired me recently, her name is Anatalia Valles.
Hmm.
She is a writer and she also does theater work. I went to one of her kind of like guided writing workshops, and then I purchased her book called The Most Spectacular Mistake. Um, and I love it a lot. It kind of um, touches upon a lot of things that I like to write about, like uh, like family and childhood experiences, and like immigrant family experiences, and like racism and colorism, and all sorts of things like that. Um, yeah, it's a lovely book, and I love finding local artists who are kind of exploring their their life and their ancestry. Just kind of feels like a natural connection when I read their work. So yeah, love her poetry.
Absolutely love it. Thank you. I'll give a couple shout outs as well. I first want to give big props to McKenna Swan. She is a local artist based out of the Long Beach area. She is an amazing illustrator, photographer, musician, just all around polyglot when it comes to the creative side of things. And she's been in my life for over 5 years now, I think. I just, love her to death, and I want to shout out her work to y'all. Go check her out. I'll put, little linkies to Instagram and Spotify or whatever in the description of our YouTube and our Spotify vids, so all of y'all can check out that. Another person, or group rather, that I want to shout out is Friday at the Fox Den. This is a series of apartment concerts, absolutely adorable shows held in the most cozy apartment um, in South Pasadena. And I've gotten to go to two of these events. A lot of acoustic folk music, acoustic jazz music from all sorts of creators, all sorts of different backgrounds. Yeah, if you are in the LA area and you are looking for very relaxing time spent with people who love music and people who just want to chill out, check out Friday at the Fox Den. I believe it's a monthly thing right now. But yeah, that is about it. Thank you again, Lola, for hopping on this cast with me. And thank you to everybody out there for giving us a listen yet again and your support, all of that good stuff. Is there any upcoming project that you want to plug real quick, Lola? Anything that you've got coming up in the woodwork?
Um, most the upcoming thing that I have is just I'm going to be at Zine Fest in September. So be happy to see anybody wants to come by.
Dope. Yeah, thank you again. And we will put the link to the Zine Fest Instagram or whatever social media presence it has as well in the in the what is it, the description. But yes, for now, thank you very much, everybody who's listening to this. Be sure to check out our Camerata Instagram. We've got a whole bunch of events coming up. We've got a whole bunch of shout outs for some wonderful local artists that um, deserve support. All artists deserve your support as long as they're not being overtly bigoted or hateful, or bigoted and hateful in any way, really. But that's besides the point. Um, I hope you all have a lovely night today, whatever time of existence it is, and we will catch you all on the flip side.
Thanks so much.